Have you seen any of the Fast and the Furious car movies? If you have, you've seen a drag race. You know, Vin Diesel and someone else, vroom, 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 and then, they take off. What do you see in those cars? And by the way, if you haven't seen the movie, see it, it's entertaining. Um, what you see in these car races is turbocharged cars. They use something called nitrous X. So I probably got the name wrong, but something that basically supercharges their engine. A chemical. What's an investment theme? It's nothing but something that supercharges your portfolio. It's an area that you believe or someone you know believes will grow much faster than the rest of the market. And because you have this insight, if you invest in a specific focus area, your portfolio does much better. Hey folks, I'm Subho and you're watching The Big Buck Show. It's a show where we tell you how you can start your investment journey and more importantly, how you can turn your small bucks into big bucks. What you've really seen in the last 2 decades is internet-enabled companies taking off. That has been an investment theme that has actually panned out. Another investment theme that has panned out is move from physical computer systems to cloud-based computer systems. It's why Amazon is growing as much as it is, because of their Amazon Web Services business unit, which creates what we know as the computing cloud. So investment themes are real, they're not made up. Unlike FOMO from the previous episode, these are real trends that transform our societies, that lead to investments that outperform most others in the market. So this is a pretty critical area for anyone who's investing to be aware of. Novice, experience, doesn't matter. And I'm going to talk to you about some investment themes that I think matter. While there are investment themes, which is where should I invest, there are also investing themes. How should I invest? And we'll cover both in this episode. And they're both equally important because, as always, it's not only where you invest that's important, but also how you invest. So let's start with investment themes, where you invest. So what are my investment themes? Before I go there, let me tell you how I pick my investment themes. I believe there are a number of inexorable changes that are going to be upon us in the next 2 decades. Not in the next 100 years or in the next year, but in the next 2 decades. And if you can start investing in these areas, the likelihood that your portfolio will do better goes up exponentially. That's the genesis of my investment theme. It's not to make a big buck. It's not to invest in particular companies, but it's to invest in a basket of companies that meet the theme criteria. So what are they? Number 1, space. Yeah, you heard me right. Space. Not space in your home, but outer space. Why am I saying this? You've now come to a point where outer space exploration is being primarily driven by private companies. If you told anyone in NASA in 1980 that they would be reliant on private sector companies to launch, they would laugh you out and tell you that the US government does not outsource space to other companies. But what's happening is 4 to 5 companies are driving the outer space exploration. And at some point, these companies and companies that supply materials to them and companies that will provide logistics and materials to space flight will come and IPO. And at that point, I, for one, will be investing in that sector as a basket. Why am I saying this? A, there's lots of money to be made. No one talks about margin when you're funding a space flight. You talk about safety, security, and making sure that no one gets blown up. It's only going to go up and expand. We're on one rock, we're bound to go to others. And so, as and when the opportunity presents itself, space as an investment theme is futuristic, but it's closer than you think and critical. My second theme is water and energy, because I think they're interrelated and will be increasingly so. Why energy? Because climate change is real. Anyone who's been in India over this summer, we're seeing the hottest summers ever. It's the same the world over. You're also seeing increasingly degradation of water resources. And so this combination of reducing quality of available water and increasing heat is going to create a set of requirements for more renewable energy as well as more renewable water resources, which in turn will be powered by renewable energy. And investing in green energy and water is going to become critical, and at least I will put in a fair amount of my portfolio in these companies. And again, I often get the question, but which companies? And I'll be like, look, pick the top 2 or 3. They're likely to continue. You don't need to bet on a company, but you can bet on the sector. And again, that's when you can choose a sectoral ETF, for example, if you don't want to pick winners. That's my second investment theme. My third investment theme is biotech. We've all been through a pandemic for the past 15 to 18 months. The reason we have ultra-fast vaccines is because of advances in biotech. And I'm not just talking about the mRNA vaccine, I'm also talking about how we are testing vaccines. The advance of CRISPR, look this up, CRISPR, means we can manipulate cells in a way never possible before, and advances like a cure for balding, and I'm serious, it's one of the most anticipated cures, and most men above the age of 40 will understand. A cure for cancer, a cure for the next virus. These are all going to become increasingly possible, and possible quicker because of biotech. Aging as a problem, as an inevitability, will, I think, start receding, not over the next 20 years, but over a longer time period. And a biotech portfolio is going to become an essential part of a portfolio sooner rather than later. That's my third investment theme. My fourth investment theme is robotics. You're increasingly seeing today the migration of data and services to the cloud. You're seeing remote work away from home. So in services, the impact of digitization is already present. In manufacturing, we've had an industrial revolution. I think we're about to have a robotics revolution where increasingly robots will carry out more and more work and have more and more efficiencies. Now you're already seeing in Western worlds where the cost of a robot is lower than the fully loaded cost of workers. And I think we'll continue to see that. Does that mean that this will cause economic havoc? I don't think so, because we'll always find other tasks that we can find for people to do, and there'll be an increased move to service. But robotics is going to be fundamentally changing the face of manufacturing. And I already have investments through robotics-focused ETFs that are looking at that sector and saying, hey, here's the growth in the future. So to me, robotics is another critical investment theme. My final investment theme is focused around AI. If robotics is the revolution in hardware, AI is a revolution in software. It's machine learning algorithms that can significantly improve outcomes in multiple fields. Whether it's personalization algos in fintech, to medical algos to do work that otherwise doctors do, to simple visual image recognition, to Bitcoin mining, right? You're seeing the emergence of machine learning and AI, and often these are used interchangeably, but more advanced machine learning that will lead to, AI in the future. And this will again transform the speed at which we use data and how we use data, and how quickly we can get to decisions without human intervention. And when you think about who's leading the charge in AI, it's the stalwarts like Alphabet, Google, Apple, but also newer companies that are really taking charge in areas that otherwise we never thought about this. You're seeing a lot of AI in food research, right? How do we get to more productive food? Today, the next green revolution will be because we have looked at a combination of AI and biotech that's giving us crops that are more resilient and more productive. So you're going to see unexpected impacts of AI, but I think your portfolio has to have a sectoral bet on the companies that are at the forefront of the next wave of machine learning and AI. So those were my investment themes, 5 of them, and I'm pretty passionate about them. You should figure out whether you like these, whether these work. And of course, it's not about like per se, it's about understanding this, doing some research, and seeing if this is a trusted source, which I hope you consider me one, and then making sure your investments follow a sectoral pattern. I think trying to pick winners here is problematic. Or you can choose to look upon another trusted source, but don't try and do all the themes by yourself. Rely on other sources, pick a few themes, and build sectoral investments. And these can be part of either your core or satellite portfolio, as we talked about last episode. But let's also talk about investing themes that I think are as important as investment themes. And this is because the how you invest is as important as the what you invest in. Primarily because the how you invest often intersects with the when you invest. So what are my investing themes and why are they important? And I'll tell you. My first investing theme is micro investing. What does that mean? It means investing every day in small amounts so that you have the smoothest possible investment time series. Normally, people talk about SIPs, a systematic investment plan. Once a month, you put the money in, but that's clunky. Markets move across the course of a month, in very large variations. And so you're better off taking that monthly amount, breaking it up, dividing by 30, saying, look, I'll invest that a smaller amount every day. You have discipline and the timing risk is more widely spread. And there are some pretty innovative micro investing approaches that are coming to the market, which we'll again cover in a future episode. Lots to cover in this space that we can then talk to you about, so you can even think about which micro investing approach to take. But micro investing to me is a key investing theme. Another investing theme is robo or automated investing. And this is really an intersection with an investment theme, because what it is the advent of machine learning into the investing space so that you're getting better recommendations, and also it's enabling more automated algorithmic trading on your behalf. What does this look like? It looks like you setting preferences and you setting some limits and investing happening by an algorithm on your behalf. So for example, let's say you want to invest in the US markets. They're open in the dead of the night. Do you really need to stay up and invest? No. You can get the right AI-enabled robo-advisor, specify parameters, what kinds of stocks, what kind of volatility, what kind of return profile. They can actually make trades while you're asleep within those parameters and deliver you a return profile within your specified expectations. This wouldn't even be in the realm of possibility 5 years ago. And now it is. You can specify parameters, you can specify drift thresholds, and essentially you can be comfortable that the algorithm will execute as per your guidance. And in some cases, you might say, hey, the algorithm has better guidance because it's being programmed by professionals and my guidance doesn't matter. But increasingly, in terms of investing themes, robo-advisory is going to become more key. My last investing theme is something you've heard me talk about before. It's almost like a dead horse. But it's a dead horse that's worth reviving instead of beating up. And the reason I keep on bringing diversification up is because it's almost a core tenet of any portfolio that performs well. But more than that, it's the core underpinning of a portfolio that doesn't suffer catastrophic loss. Because you might be invested in one asset class or one market and that goes swimmingly well for 5, 6, 7 years. But when something happens, that black swan event happens and you're not diversified, you're going to be in trouble. So diversify as much as possible. And even in this connected world, diversification will tend to pay off. So there you have it. You have my 5 investment themes. You have my 3 investing themes. And we're going to spend at least 2 episodes in December really talking about how to operationalize this. And by that, I mean, how can you actually take actions in your portfolio to bring this to life? And what's the easiest way for you to do this? That's going to be super exciting. Hey folks, thanks for watching The Big Bucks Show. And tell us how you thought about this episode in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel, please, and hit the notification bell so you get a notification next time a video shows up. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. We have a Twitter channel, a YouTube channel, and of course, also an audio podcast. And hey, continue watching us so that you can turn your small bucks into big bucks.